and supplies. As we have continued to state, flooding may occur outside of areas that normally flood with the forecasted rainfall totals we are seeing. Please stay safe today, check on your neighbors and those in your community who need assistance, and take protective actions when directed by local authorities to do so. During a disaster or major event, we are stronger together and make for more resilient communities. Finally, I'd like to say thank you to the dedicated and brave first responders and members of the emergency management community who are answering North Carolina's call and working to save lives in your communities across the state. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you, Director Ray. I've activated additional National Guard soldiers to help with this, and so I'm going to ask Adjutant General of the North Carolina National Guard, Major General Todd Hunt, for his update.
Thank you, Governor. And before I get started, I'm going to give a quick update on what the Guard is doing. But additionally, I want to thank the Guardians of the great state of North Carolina for answering the call. Thank them and their families during this time of crisis. Our current status or our footprint is we are located in the following cities. Asheville. We've been in Asheville for over a day now, providing support last night. Charlotte, Morganton, Concord. With additional units we have in Burlington, Greensboro, and Rockingham. Those units are ready to move forward when the weather permits. Like was previously mentioned, we have 385 soldiers and airmen on duty with 131 vehicles. We have 13 aircraft ready to deploy when the weather breaks. And we also have some additional support, if required, from other states, Maryland, Connecticut. Our vehicles that we have right now are mainly high water type vehicles and palletized vehicles who can produce commodities and bring commodities to the affected areas. We are also going to augment ministry with some chainsaw and debris removal teams as we move throughout the storm. Again, I thank our guardsmen and their families for protecting this great state, and just have your prayers with those individuals that are out there today. Thank you very much, Governor.
Thank you, General Hunt. There are a lot of people out there working today. We know that families are still in danger. People at this emergency operations center will be working until we get through this thing. We'll take questions now. If you guys can move to the mics over here, if anybody wants to ask one.
Laura Leslie, WRAL. A question for the DOT about the extent of road closures, outages, and how is 40 looking out west, for example, and what are the major trouble spots for transportation?
We have 290 roads closed right now, but more of them are closing as we speak, particularly in western North Carolina. But Mr. Peoples, I'll let you come forward.
Thank you, Governor. So right now we know of at least 4 spots on I-40 that are the roadways closed. The top of Old Fort Mountain, we have a slide that's covered all 4 lanes, so the road's closed there. There's also high water in locations at several other spots on I-40. I-26 is also flooded at 2 locations, mile marker 55 and mile marker 38. US 74 at I-40 is completely underwater. So there's many other locations, and this is a rapidly changing circumstance. So again, I'd just like to echo, if you don't have to drive, please don't.
Any other here? Online? Yes. Go to our online question.
Our first question this morning is going to be from Laura Lee with Blue Ridge Public Radio. Laura, you should be able to ask your question.
Good morning, Governor. We heard in the briefing this morning from Buncombe County officials that not able to respond to. We've heard reports of people calling 911 and not getting any response. Is there state assistance coming for that? And what advice do you have to people who are trying to make an emergency call and not getting any response?
You know, we know the people in in Western North Carolina, some of them are facing great danger from the flooding at this point, and emergency responders can sometimes be prohibited from going into places because of the danger themselves. I'll let Will Ray address that specifically.
Thank you, sir. So we do know that we are starting to see some degradation of particularly cell service in parts of Western North Carolina. As we work with our partners in the communications sector, particularly our public safety answering points, our 911 centers, they are beginning to initiate fallback plans where unimpacted centers would be able to receive 911 calls on their behalf. Those fallback plans in those impacted areas are ongoing. We're also working with those jurisdictions that are reporting some of those major infrastructure impacts to look at either through state assistance or through some of our private sector partners the ability to, when safely, to move some additional support into that area to assist with that cell coverage.
Next question.
Our next question will be from Laura Hackett with Blue Ridge Public Radio. Laura, you should be able to ask your question.
Sorry, we're kind of losing service here, so you can skip me.
Okay. Thank you very much for calling in. We know that there's frustration right now with cell service in Western North Carolina. We have the service providers who are located here at the Emergency Operations Center. We are talking with them and working with them. I know that there are efforts going on to restore that service as soon as possible. Thank you all for being here with us today. Please stay safe, particularly to our friends in Western North Carolina. We know that it's tough right now, but there'll be a lot of help coming your way. Thank you very much.